I'll wait till people log on as usual. Just want to give an update on the situation. I'm sure many of you are reading. It's hard to know whether to trust or believe what Sky News say, but Sky News, or Sly News, have run an article saying that one of the soldiers who shared a selfie with me is being discharged from the army. So, if you're watching this, give it a share. One of the young men, I believe 17 years old. Again, I haven't had the chance to speak to the lad. I'd like to. I believe there's now a process starting to discharge. They've gone public anyway. And this is where the fake news spreads to push their narrative and their agenda. You will see that the story now is that this is a long list of disciplinary problems from this soldier. From what I understand from people within the same regiments as this lad, it's not a long list of disciplinary problems. Of course, the Sky News report says a source tells us. That then controls the narrative that he hasn't just been dismissed because of this photo, he's been problematic, which is a lie. He has been dismissed because he shared a photo with me. Now, I have a recording that's been given to me of a top military personnel talking about who is directing this. The same people who decided to lock, this is government, obviously. This is the same people. We'll ask all these questions tomorrow when I release this. The point of this update is that we're over 90,000 signatures on our petition. That petition will be handed into the army. It will also be handed into 10 Downing Street. I believe this young lad has been given a discharge date, and there's a process that the army have to go through to discharge him. Now, there's now a time frame of which I think the army need to realise the public feeling about this. They need to understand that how angry people or how frustrated people will be with the fact that this young lad is going to have his career taken from him for sharing a selfie with a journalist. Let's put a few things into point here. The kid's 17. When people talk about, yes, but I founded the EDL. When I left the English Defence League, this boy was 12. When I started the English Defence League, he was 8 years old. Not politically minded, probably. Not politically interested. Who is at 15, 16, 14? Who's politically interested? No one. You're just enjoying yourself. So what could this boy have known about me, and why might he have taken a selfie with me or taken a picture with me? All he could have known possibly is really in the last 12 months. He would see me as a journalist, someone who reports news on paedophiles. And he's lost his job. He's going to lose his job. And I know the boy hasn't contacted yet, or nor of his family or anyone, but as I said, we will back, I'm sure the public will back completely any campaign that is put up for this child. Any campaign to keep him in the army, to fight their attempts to boot him out, whether it be legally, whatever's needed. I've already said publicly that if he loses his career, if he does, then I'd like to help him get another career. And if he's going to be out of work straight away, then he can come and work for me. I'll hire him. I'm sure the public will support in not leaving this kid losing his job. What was our military? It's just depressing. What has our military come to? What was the political correctness, the level of political correctness? He just took a photo. You don't have to agree with me, who I am or my views at all. He took a photo with a journalist. We have received 90,000 signatures in less than 24 hours. We have people lining up. And to be honest, you know what I've been inundated with? What I've also found out today is that another member of our military, who I believe they have suspicion that he messaged me, has also today lost his job. Another one, again. I'll fill out more on this tomorrow, but I believe another member of our military has lost his job. What is it the military are saying? Because none of them can pinpoint, no one can pinpoint what it is I'm saying that is wrong and that's not allowed to be a viewpoint. What exactly is it? So is the law now, which seems to be coming from government, from what I understand now, the personnel are being told that they're not allowed to follow me on Facebook. They'll lose their jobs if they follow me on Facebook. This is like Soviet Russia in our armed forces. In our armed forces. And again, do you know what I was thinking? If you're a Muslim and you're serving in the British Army, surely you should become vocal about this. Surely you think this is wrong as well. This is not about me or my views. This is about the rights of individuals who are serving our Queen and country, that if they want to post a picture of themselves with anyone, okay, let's look at me. I've never been charged or arrested on anything to do with extremism or racism or religious discrimination or anything. I've never been charged or arrested on any of those crimes. When I led the English Defence League, which is what they seem to throw at me, the Metropolitan Police Unit in Scotland Yard have a national extremism unit. Their job is to categorise organisations on the far left, the far right. That's their job. The entire time I led the English Defence League, it was categorised as a centrist organisation. The far right label comes from the media, the fake, lying media. Okay? The specialist in Scotland Yard, whose job it was to categorise these groups, whilst I led it, it was a centrist organisation. Now, maybe not. But the whole entire time I led it, and the advice given to Muslim organisations at that time was they should interact into dialogue with us. That's what it was. We had a Jewish division, a gay division. We were not opposed to complete immigration. We draw facts to Islamic scripture that promotes violence and supremacy. What's the problem with that? How does a man wanting to oppose fascism or violence or homophobia or attacks on Jews or attacks on women, how does that categorise one as far right? How are they allowed to get away with this? You've seen the narrative run all day, the headlines, far right activists. Not one single journalist ever has been able to justify that label. They just say, well, you're labelled as it. Yeah, by you liars. You, as part of a smear campaign, to intimidate people into silence so that you can continue with your globalist agenda, which will destroy and actually replace our country's citizens. That's what we're seeing. We're seeing our towns and our areas change across this country. Not for the better. Our security, our safety, our freedom. It erodes every week, every day. It's going. And they're not just content with that. They're not just happy with that. That they now want to stop even our armed personnel having an opinion. Not even an opinion. Sharing a selfie. You lose your job if you share a selfie. I actually feel gutted because there's a 17-year-old kid now whose career and whose life is going to change. And I'll be honest, I had a career. I was an aircraft engineer. I studied for 5 years when I left school, and I had a altercation, and I ended up losing my career. So I've been there, and then I had a mad couple of years after that. So I've been going to be in at 17 years old of losing. And I don't know because I haven't spoke to him, but I don't know what his goals were, whether it's been his life goal to join the military. I don't know if he had family in the military. I don't know any of these things, but I'm gutted that this can happen to a member of our British Armed Forces for sharing a selfie. So that's just an update, that's all it is. There's an update, we're coming up towards 100,000 signatures. Share the video, please. Share. I don't know why this keeps going in and out again, doesn't it? I've got full reception, but how many signatures? We're over 90,000. We're over 90,000. We're over 90,000 in 24 hours. Keep them coming, because I will hand every one of your names that you're signing this petition. A lot of people are saying, what can we do? At first, we can show how strong the feeling is, the public feeling against this. We can then run a campaign up until the date that this young lad's supposed to be discharged from the army. We can embarrass and highlight all of these problems. Do you know how many soldiers I've had contact me today, where I've heard their stories of how they've just been thrown out on the scrap heap? Some of them suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder, some of them lost limbs, being treated like dirt. Just, well, they don't matter. By the top brass, you know, the people who are inflicting it and deciding that they're going to destroy this young kid for having a selfie with a journalist. Probably knew very little about my political views and my quotes or anything I've stood for or said. So, and then coming out saying we don't stand with far-right ideology. What are you talking about? What far-right ideology? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I never expected it. And what I would expect, which I'm waiting to see, is there must be such a strong feeling within the armed forces about what they're doing to this kid. Let's see what stems from this. I'm being contacted left, right and centre by so many people who are not happy. And I believe you've already got problems with recruiting people to join our armed forces because of the way you treat them, because of the way they're treated, because of the way the military covenant of respect by our government to our armed forces. It's not upheld. It's not upheld. The conditions. But anyway, share it, please. Share the petition. Share it everywhere. Get everyone you know to sign it. And arm me with a huge number to go and hand in. And I'll be coming back to you tomorrow with more plans on what we can do to highlight this problem with this young lad. And hopefully I might get in contact with him. I might hear from him, just to tell him that whatever legal help he needs, anything, we will sort out. He will not be left if he loses his career for this. If he's left jobless, then we'll help him in every way possible. Unbelievable. Sad as well, man.